Hello, my beautiful friends. I am Laurel Bleadon-Maffei with Illuminating Souls, welcoming you to this episode of Sleepy Bedtime Blessings, a podcast designed to help you rest, relax, and fall asleep, all while deepening in your connection with your beautiful team of angels who love you so. If we're meeting for the first time, I am an angelic practitioner, a spiritual teacher, and an encourager of souls. And I have the most wonderful job. I get to help you open to the beauty of your spirit. I offer one-on-one angel sessions, which are wonderful. They take place over the phone. They're an hour long. I start with an opening prayer, and then you can share with me how you want to spend our time together. What do you want to focus upon? And then we have heartfelt conversation, and I bring forward messages for you from the angels. And my hope for every session is that you feel more connected with your divine guidance. Because yes, you have beautiful divine guidance that is an innate part of your spirit. And if you're ever interested in scheduling your own angel session, you can reach out to me through my website, illuminatingsouls.com. And I typically can get you in within a few days. I'm not one of these practitioners who has a months-long waiting list. That's never appealed to me. I enjoy the spontaneity of being able to schedule people within a reasonable amount of time. So if you are feeling guided to have your own angel session, it would be a blessing to facilitate one for you. I also offer soul mentoring, which is ongoing, continuous angel sessions, if you will, but boosted way up. One of my friends calls them angel mentoring sessions. And soul mentoring begins by meeting every week for 12 weeks. You get your own spot in my calendar, and I track with you, and we create space for you to come into healing, transformation, growth. If you're moving through a time of change, each person I work with is on their own unique journey, so it never looks the same way twice. I typically only have a handful of people that I work with in this way, but I do have a spot opening soon, so if that's something that appeals to you, again, feel free to reach out. And then I offer a wide variety of classes because I love teaching and facilitating groups. All my classes take place over Zoom. And if technology isn't your thing, you can also just call in. You don't have to be on your laptop or your phone in terms of your camera. However you want to participate is fine with me. And my classes are almost always small in size. So we will get a chance to talk with each other and share and connect and experience. And so I always have something new coming down the pipeline. So I invite you to go to my website and sign up for my mailing list at illuminatingsouls.com. And there's 2 different mailing lists. At the top of my homepage, you can sign up just for my regular mailing list, and you'll receive periodic emails from me whenever I'm scheduling a new class or I have a new offering. Further down on the page, you can also sign up for the Daily Inspiration email blast, and you will receive a daily message from me every weekday, an inspiring message to start your day off with light and love from the angels and myself. So lots of ways we can connect, but for now, the angels and I are here to help you come into a lovely expanse of rest. Now, I know some of you listen during your waking hours, so whether you're going for a walk or going about your day, it is a joy to keep you company. And others use this as a sleep podcast to help you bridge your waking hours and your sleep time, which is actually how I use this podcast and the other sleep podcasts that I listen to. I love listening to a sleep podcast to help me drift off to sleep. And as I've shared with you before, what I find works best for me is that I use wired earphones. They don't bother me while I'm sleeping. And I turn the volume down on the episode lower than I would if I were listening to an audiobook and really wanted to pay attention. And I set the sleep timer on the iPhone podcast app to turn off after the episode's done, so it's not playing all night. I do know some people enjoy having it continue playing throughout the night. That typically doesn't work for me because it interferes with my dreams, and I wind up having dreams where I am continuously trying to turn off the podcast. So they're disruptive. So that's not quite my thing, but if it's yours, please enjoy. There are, I think this might be our 180th episode. If not, it's 179. I'm getting close. So there's a lot of hours of this podcast that you can listen to. So it is my blessing, truly it is, to keep you company. As I record this, as you know, I typically record these episodes in the early hours. So it is early morning. And you know, I'm having one of those mornings where I feel like I haven't quite returned from the astral realm yet. I've showered, right? I'm up, I'm about, I'm recording, but it still feels like a part of me is off wherever that mysterious place is that we go when we sleep. I had a lot of very vivid dreams, and it's always interesting to me when that happens. Nothing of urgency, nothing precognitive, just, I think, consciousness burning itself off. And so it feels like a perfect time to record this episode for you because right now, for me at least, that beautiful, expansive, soft, sweet space of sleep is still very much present for me. And so I get to share this with you. And the love is still here with me. I mean, it always is. But certainly there's times I'm not aware of it. I'm an earth girl. I'm a human being, just like you are. And so, believe it or not, I don't walk around in a continual place of bliss. I definitely am very, very human as well. So when these moments come and it feels like the veil between the humanness of life and the divinity of life, when the veil feels thin, it just always touches my heart so deeply. And so it's a lovely time to share the angels with you. And your angels are already with you. They're always with you. It's just that we're not always aware of it. So I use this opportunity to help you open your awareness to the love that is with you right now. So I'm going to call the angels in. They're already here, but I love sharing this ritual with you. And while I do, I invite you to get comfortable in whatever way works best for you. If you're getting ready for bed, to cozy on up and snuggle on in. I always love pulling up all of my blankets and fluffing my pillows. I sleep with a pillow fortress and lots of blankets. I definitely am someone who subscribes to the cocooning method of sleep. Whenever I see someone sleeping and there's no blanket on them, I think, oh my gosh, how do you do that? I'm not judging them, you understand. There's a vulnerability that I feel if I am not somehow cocooned. I've been that way since I was a child. You know, when they talk about infants and they talk about swaddling infants, I think that must be a carryover for me, even though I'm 61 years old. I love being cocooned when I sleep. So whatever your sleep style is, whether it's no blanket and open, whether you wrap yourself up like a burrito, whatever you do, however you sleep, you go ahead and get cozy. I love the word cozy. We'll just get cozy here and now, energetically. And I'm going to call the angels in. I know I already told you that, but I'm really going to do it this time. So, beautiful, beautiful angels on high, I ask that you join us here, and I acknowledge that you are already here, and it is really the invitation you are providing to us that we are responding to. So thank you for the invitation for us to join you in this beautiful sanctuary of light. And angels, I ask that you help to make your presence of love and light known to us in our hearts. That you send this love to each of our beloveds hearing this message whenever they hear it, knowing that you are not bound by time nor space. And angels, I ask that you receive our prayers, that you amplify our intentions, our affirmations, that you help lift from us anything that feels like a burden, to help take our worries and fears and lift these up into the highest realms, where they can be transformed in service for the highest good of all concerned. And angels, I'm so deeply grateful for this opportunity to be in the light with you and our beloveds here. And dear ones, just take some nice deep breaths in. And I feel the angels coming forward, and they want to share with you about gratitude. Now, before you give an inner groan and say, not gratitude again, and where you think that this might result in us telling you to keep a list of all the things you're grateful for, let me assure you that is not the direction in which we are going. In this moment, the angels invite you to open to feeling the gratitude the angels have for you. To receive the gratitude the angels have for you, dearest one, for you, beloved. The angels say you are one of the courageous ones who has chosen to incarnate into this time and space. And not only have you chosen to incarnate, you have chosen to awaken, to open to your divine essence, and by doing so, to amplify the caliber and quality of love and loving that is available through you and as you. And the angels remind you that it is not expected that you maintain this awareness 24/7. It is enough that you even tap into it for the few minutes that we are together in this episode. The angels have such gratitude for you. They are grateful for your essence. They are grateful for your presence. They are grateful for your love. You are one of the ways the light flows into this world. They recognize that the human experience is not for the faint of heart. We all go through a portal of amnesia upon our birth. And this journey is about finding our way into our hearts, into our authentic essence. So the angels say thank you. Thank you for the beautiful spirit that you are. Thank you for the sweetness of your heart. Thank you for the compassion that you carry within you. Thank you for your curiosity. You know, you are a curious soul. You want to know why and how and what. And your curiosity indicates that you're engaged. So the angels say thank you. So they bring forward their gratitude for you. They honor you. So often when we think about connecting with the divine, connecting with angels, we think we must somehow pay tribute to them and honor them. And it's not that that is not a lovely way to connect. It certainly is. But the angels remind us that that comes with a reciprocity, that they want space to also honor and pay tribute to you. Because you are a big, beautiful, bright soul who has come into this very unique experience of being incarnated as a human being. Your angels have known you since before you were born. They know your true, authentic essence. And they know what you are experiencing here on earth. And they send you love and gratitude and light. So take some nice deep breaths in and feel this love. Feel this celebration. Feel their compassion and understanding for all that you are. All that you are, everything about you. The parts of you you love and the parts of you maybe you find harder to love. Every part of you is loved by the angels. So take another deep breath in, allowing their love to wash over you. Breathe it in, allowing your body to relax and receive. Allowing your mind to also relax and open to the goodness that flows to you now. And even as I say these words, I feel the angels infusing your heart chakra with love. So just breathe into your heart center and imagine it filling with divine love. Whether you can feel it or not, you can use your imagination as a gateway to imagine it to be so. And allow the calm, sweet energy of your angels to soothe you right now. And I affirm that goodness is coming to you now. That inspiration will find you as you are sleeping. And that the molecules of consciousness will rearrange within you so that you experience greater grace in the days to come. That you are able to see clearly in ways that allow you to feel uplifted, inspired, empowered, and with more lightness of spirit. You are precious in this world. You are a beloved. And the angels and I are so profoundly grateful for this opportunity to shine this love upon you. This love that is a reflection of your authentic, divine essence, of your beautiful humanity, of all that you are. Thank you for being you, and thank you for allowing us to love you. So take some nice deep breaths in, just breathing this beautiful love fest into your beingness. And you are a part of this love fest. And it is so. So you go ahead and get comfortable, and if you want to drift off to sleep, we invite you to do so. Your angels will be with you and watching over you. And while you rest, we're going to go on into story time. So for story time, I'm guided to sort of continue the story time from the last episode in which I shared with you crafting memories, because I have a couple follow-ups for you already. I first want to acknowledge Patty. So Patty, thank you, who posted a picture of a latch hook tapestry that she made, which is beautiful, and also woven pot holders that she made, which are gorgeous. And I want to say thank you for posting those. And it delighted me so much to see what could be done with these crafts beyond the capabilities of an 8 or 10-year-old child, which was how old I was in all likelihood the last time I engaged with those crafts. So a lot of the crafts that are available to us as adults now, whether it's latch hook or weaving or diamond painting or crochet, they're these beautiful rhythmic motions that can be very meditative. I personally haven't done diamond painting, but if I didn't know how to crochet, I might give it a try. I've watched people do diamond painting on YouTube and TikTok, and it seems very rhythmic and fulfilling. And I would imagine the latch hook is the same way, because it's a repetitive motion and you make progress with something, and personal artistry is not necessarily required. Like, it doesn't matter if I know how to draw a horse. If I have a canvas for latch hooking or diamond painting that has a horse on it, if I follow the pattern, the horse will be revealed. So here's to all of these beautiful crafts that are available to us in our adult years that soothe us. I know crocheting definitely soothes me, so whatever that is for you, I honor you. So again, Patty, thank you so much for sharing. You really made my day and my whole heart smiled. That was wonderful. The other thing I wanted to follow up from the last episode is I realized after I edited and posted the episode that I had talked quite a bit about the Cascade yarn big wheel that I love. And I realized I made it sound like there was none available anymore. What's really happening, I don't know why I feel like I have to let you know this. It felt like an incomplete circuit, and I want to complete that circuit. And for those of you who didn't listen to the last episode was about crafting and memories from my childhood, hence the conversation about the latch hook and the woven pot holders and cascade yarn. I had talked about how my favorite yarn was called Big Wheel from a company called Cascade, and they were discontinuing it, and I was grieving the loss of one of my favorite yarns. Well, I just want to let you guys know that the part that I forgot to share with you is there are a few companies that are still selling off their remaining inventory. So, if you were going to be a very sweet earth angel and thought, maybe I'll do some research and see if I can find some for Laurel, not that I have any expectation that you would do that, but just in case, I am wonderful at Googling, and I happen to know everything that's available on the market right now, because I'm a bit obsessive. And I have bought all I wanted of the colorways that are still available. There is one vendor on Etsy that has some at a very high price point, and I am making peace with myself about putting an order in with her because there's a specific color I still want to make another blanket with. So I don't know why I felt that it was important to share that with you, but it allows me, in my obsessive way, to close the circuit of that conversation within myself, if you were paying attention. And I also realized I forgot to share with you about some of my other childhood crafts, and one in particular that was very important to me. So here we go. Crafting in my childhood, Part 2. The first one is not the really important one, but we're going to lead up to that. I was remembering making Kleenex flowers. How many of you remember making flowers out of Kleenex? So back in the day, Kleenex used to come in colors. I don't mean the colors of the boxes, I mean the actual tissues were different colors. So you could buy blue Kleenex tissues, pink, yellow, beige, like there were all these different color tissues you could buy. And you would take like 5 or 10 Kleenexes and you would lay them flat, and then you would accordion pleat them. And then you would put a staple in the center of the tissues, or you would tie at the center of the now accordioned tissue papers, Kleenexes. You would tie off at the center. And then what you would do is each Kleenex is 2-ply. So it was important that it was Kleenex, because which wasn't Kleenex, generic tissue was sometimes 1-ply. But the Kleenex brand of Kleenex is 2-ply. So you would separate the 2-ply. So if you had 10 pieces of Kleenex accordioned and bound together, it would wind up being 20 leaves for a flower And you would do that on each side. And it would create, quote, a flower. We did a lot of these as kids. It's like how you would decorate for birthday parties and stuff. And I just remember so many Kleenex flowers. And we would get the different colors. So back when Kleenex came in colored tissue, it was a lovely thing. And toilet paper also came in colors, but we never did crafts with that. But you could have colored toilet paper too back then. Now everything is white. And I will say, I miss a good pink Kleenex. I don't know why that came to me as a memory, but I miss colored tissue. I miss colored Kleenex. But I will have you know I'm very specific about the Kleenex that I buy. I prefer the extra soft with lotion. Not that you need to know that for any reason, but I have not tried to make a flower out of Kleenex since I was probably 10 years old. I do not know if it would still work the same with my extra soft lotioned Kleenex tissues. I'm not going to waste it to find out, but that was one of my crafting memories from childhood. Perhaps you made them as well. The other one that I really felt I needed to share about and pay tribute to, because it went on for several years and I really invested a lot of my childhood money and asked my parents to invest in. And when I say invest in, I mean like 5 cents and 10 cents at a time. Okay, so we're not really talking about I had a horse or something like that. I need to lead up to this because it's story time, so bear with me. How many of you who are in my age stage remember the show Zoom, right? Okay, let's all sing the song together. I'm not going to sing it with you. Come on and Zoom. Well, maybe I will. Come on and Zoom, Zoom, Zoom on Zoom, right? And how many of us now, forever, will know that one of the zip codes in Boston is 02134, right? We all know that now. Zoom was the best show ever. I can still speak ubby-dubby, which I'm not going to do because it might be disruptive if you're falling asleep, but just know if you want to speak ubby-dubby with me, I can, right? I loved when Bernadette did her arm thing, right? Where she fanned her arms together. And they used to do these different crafts. Do you remember that? One of the crafts they showed in an episode was how to make a gum wrapper chain. How many of you remember gum wrapper chains? So back in the day, when you bought a pack of gum, it would be in the package, and the stick of gum would have a paper wrapper around it that had the colors and brand of the flavor of gum you were chewing. And then there would be a stick of gum wrapped in tin foil inserted into the paper sleeve, and then the individual sticks of gum in their paper sleeves would be put into the package of gum. I share that because these days that is not how it works, at least with the gum that I chew. I just get the foil, no paper wrapper around it. You know, there's the package, and then inside the package is the piece of gum wrapped in foil, but there's no paper around the foil in the package. I hope I'm making sense. So with the gum wrapper chain, what you would do is you would take the paper sleeve and you would fold it. You'd fold it in half and you'd fold it in half again. I think maybe you would cut it lengthwise into two. I don't quite remember that part. And then you would bend it in half and bend it again. And then you would slip these, like, it would create a loop of some kind, and you would slip the loops into each other to make a chain. It held itself. You didn't need glue, you didn't need staples. You sort of made these origami loops out of the paper sleeves, out of each stick of gum, and you would loop them together. And I became obsessed. First off, I loved gum, right? Who didn't want to chew gum? I always wanted to chew gum. And I was creating a paper gum wrapper chain. And the thing is that each brand of gum and each flavor of gum had their own colors. So there was a little bit of artistry to that, right? Like juicy fruit gum had a yellow wrapper. Fruit stripe gum was multicolored but had a lot of red in it. If I happened to get tea berry gum, which I actually really liked and like to this day, although they don't really make it any more sugarless, had a pink wrapper to it. Double mint had the green wrapper to it. And so while I was heavy into my gum wrapper chain making, I would be very discerning about the color of the wrapper. I would buy gum based on its color rather than on its flavor, because I thought the wrapper was pretty. And this gum wrapper chain became like 15 to 20 feet. It was a monstrosity. And the scent of the gum would linger on it. So whatever room it was in, it would still kind of have this minty essence, and not in a good way. And at some point it broke, and I stapled it back together. And I seem to remember it dwelled on our back porch for a long time, and my mother would say, "What am I supposed to do with this?" I was like, "Just hang it there. It's a gum wrapper chain." So clearly my mother could not see the beauty of my artistry in my gum wrapper chain. I just thought it was cool. And again, as I shared with you in the last episode about the soothing rhythm of doing lanyards or macrame, doing the gum wrapper chain, I found really soothing. There was something about the repetitive motion and seeing something build up. So I really felt that I could not do a crafting theme without including my beloved gum wrapper chain endeavors, which children these days will never know the joy of, because we no longer put the paper sleeve around each stick of gum. Or if that's being done, I just don't chew those gum brands. I am an Extra and Trident girl, so perhaps it is just those that no longer, well, Trident would be too small for a gum wrapper chain, but Extra gum would be the right size if it still had a paper wrapper around each individual stick. So I don't know how many of you did gum wrapper chains, or perhaps you did a different kind of craft inspired by Zoom, of which there were many, but I only remember the gum wrapper chain in this moment of time. But perhaps something else will come back to me, and then we'll have to do a third crafting episode. And although these were not necessarily beloved childhood crafting memories, I do have to give a shout out to the construction paper chain that we were all involved in. Yes, where they usually did these at school. You would cut out pieces of construction paper and then use paste. Remember when we used paste instead of glue to paste the ends of the piece of paper together and make a chain? That must have been a rainy day activity to keep us quiet. But I remember creating many construction paper chains, not in terms of a joyful crafting project at home, but at school. And I remember the paste. I don't know, it was thick, and right? You'd use like a tongue depressor, a popsicle stick to put it on the end of the construction paper. And I don't have I guess I do have quite a few memories of kindergarten, but one of them that I remember was we would make, I don't know why I'm using the word diorama. It couldn't have possibly been a diorama, but we made like these shadow boxes where we glued pieces of macaroni to indicate the numbers, which I was very proud of my macaroni art. So certainly I think we've all done macaroni art, yes, as children. Again, not a craft I would have done at home, but certainly a craft or art. That would be considered art in kindergarten. An art project from my childhood would be macaroni art. I guess since we're talking about crafting and art, I will also share with you about the time I took a watercolor class at Beverly Hills High School. Well, Beverly Hills, I guess, offered an adult school where there would be all kinds of different classes. A lot of school systems offer adult classes, and they offered watercolor. Now, this would have been in the 90s. I was enchanted with watercolors, and I had no idea how to do them. And I wanted to learn. I wanted to know how to create this exquisite, enchanting art that I was so in love with. But I don't think I really wanted to learn as an artist. I just wanted to know how. You see, for me, I think one of my hurdles in learning something is I typically do not enjoy the iterative nature of learning. I want to binge learn, and I want to learn it all now. I have Mercury and Gemini, which means I binge learn, and I want to know everything there is to know right now. And to learn art, like to learn how to watercolor, it's an iterative process, right? There's a process in learning how to lay down the water and then mix the paints and get the right opacity, and also to create the right shapes and perspective and all of those things that go along with painting. I didn't want to know that. I just wanted to know how to do watercolor, as if there was a really easy method to learn to watercolor. So the woman who taught the class was teaching this as you would teach a regular art class. And I was looking to just have fun. God bless this woman. She was a really good teacher. I just don't know that I was a very good student. So I will take ownership of this experience. So I sat in the back of the class. We had tables. And my table mate was this lovely elderly man. I don't know why. I seem to remember his name was Sid. I could be wrong about this, but that's what I remember. And so we sat together at the back table, and he had been in the class before, so he knew more than I did. And I was completely lost. And so he would show me how to do things, and we would giggle a lot. There was a lot of laughter back at our table. And our first project, or their first painting that first night, she had a vase of roses up at the front of the room that we were supposed to paint. Well, I just did my Laurel childlike expression of these roses, because let's face it, I had not picked up a paintbrush since 7th grade, probably, maybe high school. I don't really know, but this was not in my wheelhouse. And so I made some swirls, and I put down these pretty colors, and I did a wash, and between you and me, I was absolutely delighted with what I created. It was watercolor. I watercolored. I created a painting with watercolor. And you could see that they were flowers. They weren't good flowers, but they were flowers, right? And then at the end of the class, we all had to bring our pictures up and put them up on the wall, and she would critique them. Which I suppose, if you're really wanting to learn how to do watercolor, that would be really helpful. So she gets to my painting, and she says, the flowers are really not very well defined. She critiqued my painting. And I think I probably, in a nice way, got rather defensive. And I said, I don't even know what I said. I'm totally making this up. I don't know. I just said that like I completely remember what I said. I don't really remember what I said. I likely said, though, something like, I have not painted since 7th grade. And my inner child is profoundly delighted with my flowers. This is refrigerator art. I don't know that I really said that out loud. But in my mind, I was thinking this is refrigerator art. Refrigerator art is a holy and sacred thing. When we're children, if you've had a good childhood, because not everybody did, I realize, but for many of us who did have good childhoods, when you created a piece of art, even if it was terrible, your loving parent would say, "That's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." And it would be because we created it, and it would go on the refrigerator. So refrigerator art is a holy and sacred thing. And I created refrigerator art. Me and my inner child created refrigerator art. And you know what? That piece of art still hangs on my refrigerator all these years later. It still delights me because of what it symbolizes. That it doesn't matter if it's good. And I think that's where we get lost in our creative spirit. When we're children, you just get your box, and I hope that you had a childhood where you got to have the 64 color box of Crayola crayons, right? You've got 64 colors at your disposal. And who cares that the tree or the dinosaur is purple? You drew it, and so it's the most beautiful thing ever. And I recognize that there is a difference between creativity and artistry. So I am not trying to water down truly accomplished artists, right? I'm not trying to say just because I can play Mary Had a Little Lamb on the piano that I'm a pianist. There is a huge expanse of difference between mastery and creativity. But I think for many of us, at some point, our creativity gets trained out of us because we do not have the level of mastery to become true artists. I had no idea I was going to go on this little tangent today, because this was really about crafting. But I was just remembering that experience that I had in the watercolor class where I was just so delighted. I was so delighted with my painting. I watercolored. I did it. I learned how to put the water on the paper and why having watercolor paper is so important. And how you put the water down first and then you put the paint down, and the water kind of has the paint travel on the paper a little bit. And that's all I really remember. I am no expert in watercolor to this day, but that was what I remembered. And so I love that something like crocheting exists for me, because that's in my wheelhouse. Now, I am not a really gifted crochet artist. Like, there are some people doing amazing things with crocheting and knitting. Amazing stuff. But I know how to do a blanket. I love creating my blankets. They make me so happy. I have the stitches that I know how to do, and I know how to combine the stitches so they look really super cool. And I love getting to pick out the yarn that I want and the colors that I want. I love being able to pick out certain colors and weights of yarn based on the person I want to make the blanket for. It makes me so happy. And so I want to share with you that I invite you to find a way to come into alignment with your creative spirit. Whether you go and get a diamond painting, and do you know what a diamond painting is, by the way? I'm talking as if you must know. I've never done one myself. I just watch people who do them, and they look really cool. So they're these pre-printed canvases of sorts, and they're not real diamonds, clearly, because who could afford that? They're these little sort of plastic crystal things that have different colors, so it's like a paint by number, but with these colored crystals, and you put them on with this tool. It's really cool. If you've never seen diamond painting, just Google it and you'll see a jillion examples of what it is. It looks super cool. But I don't think I have the patience nor the horizontal space for it. I don't have a tabletop. And I have my crocheting, so my crocheting works for me. But I'm just saying, to look for something that allows you to allow your creative spirit to engage, and especially your inner child creative spirit. Like, let's give ourselves permission to be messy and imperfect, and that the flowers that we might paint be undefined. I'll never forget that. Your flowers are undefined. I'm like, I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly okay and will live a fulfilled life. And this poor woman, she was just trying to do her job and be helpful. But I was like, but I painted. It's refrigerator art. It's beautiful. That was really good, inner parenting. I just want to acknowledge myself for the way I inner parented that moment, and that piece of art is still on my refrigerator. It has stayed with me all these years. So, if you ever come for a visit, I'll show you the piece of art, assuming it'll still be on my refrigerator. So here's to all of those beautiful, sweet, random memories and experiences that allowed us to feel creative, like we were creating something, whether it was tissue, paper, flowers. I loved those things. Or cutting out snowflakes out of construction paper. Maybe you had a gum wrapper chain, or you remember making the construction paper chains. We're creative beings. So here's to crafting, whatever that might mean to you now, or your creativity. And I appreciate you allowing me to share these warm and sweet memories with you. It's so lovely, and thank you. I really appreciate you. I know the angels were sharing gratitude with you in this episode, and I want to just tell you how grateful I am for you. This podcast is here for you, and I get to come here in front of the microphone on these beautiful mornings like I am now and share with you. So thank you for being you. You're wonderful, and I really appreciate you. So thank you so much. We will connect again soon. I love you. I thank God for the gift of you. And so thank you so much.